Okay, I'm here with Miss Moore. Miss Moore is the mother of a paraplegic individual, and I'm just gonna ask her a few questions. She's gonna go through the typical day with Mr. Moore and everything that she does for him, pre-injury, post-injury, things that she's seen change in him, and pretty much just everything that goes on in the life of a paraplegic person and the caretaker of it. How you doing, Miss Moore?
Tired.
Um, so what is it like taking care of a paraplegic individual?
It's very tiresome and stressful. I get up in the morning and my at 6 o'clock, and I'm responsible for fixing his breakfast, giving him a bath, make sure he takes his medicine, and getting his clothes because my son is paralyzed from the chest down. He has no feeling. He is called a P8. It's like from his breastbone down, and he can use his hands. So anything that he can do with his hands for himself, he does it. But other than that, I have to do the rest.
Okay. And what Miss Moore, in my research, I found what Miss Moore refers to as a T8 injury. Your T stands for thoracic, which is the nerve that goes kind of from your the nipple down, and it's just a little section, kind of like where your abdomen region is, and your thoracic nerve. So he has a T8, which is the eighth vertebrae in the thoracic area. So the how did he become injured, Miss Moore?
In January '95, he went to the barber shop to get his hair cut, and some man came there looking for somebody else, and he didn't find him, so he shot my son.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how many bullets? How many times did he get shot?
He shot him once through the chest and once in his knee.
Oh, okay.
And he went straight from the barbershop site to trauma. As soon as he got to the hospital, trauma sent him straight to the heart unit, and he had heart surgery. And the sad part about it, I couldn't see him until after the heart surgery, so that was sad on me.
Okay. And I'm guessing the gunshot to his chest severed his spine.
Yes, it severed his spine, and he was like in a coma, not aware of things for a month.
So he was in a coma for a month after the gunshot.
Right.
Okay. So.
And as soon as he came through, as soon as he was awake enough to be aware of his surroundings, he realized that he couldn't move his leg. Well, it was my job as his mother to tell him that he was paralyzed, and that was a sad occasion. That was the only time during and even now that he broke down like that when I told him that he would never be able to walk again.
So when you gave him the news that he wouldn't be able to walk again, what exactly did he do? He just was he in denial, or was he just in complete shock that he wasn't be able to walk?
He was just in shock, and he cried, and it was like, he wanted to be alone for a while, and he prayed, and then the next day he was much better. It was like, okay, the Lord saved me. I can't walk, but I'm still here. Yeah.
That sounds good. So Miss Moore told us that he was shot in the chest and in the leg. So the chest injury, it severed his spine, like I said earlier, resulting in paraplegia. So that it had to sever his spine and stop the nerves from working. It severed his nerve ending. So in the thoracic area, now Mr. Moore is paralyzed from the nipple down. That's a little more uncommon than most paraplegic people. They're just they suffer injuries in other areas of the spine, so that they're only injured from the waist down. But in order to be injured only from the waist down, you have to suffer an injury much lower in this spinal region. So that's why that's what you call a T8 injury, and that's what Mr. Moore suffered. So how is it now, taking care of him, and what do you see like the behaviors between Mr. Moore before he was shot and after he was shot, and just how much different is life in every aspect?
Well, the biggest difference is he can't walk. Before he was, smart and outgoing, and he always make us laugh then, and he makes us laugh now. But there are days when he's, depressed and he doesn't want to see anyone, so we let him have that time. But most of the time he's happy, although he's sick a lot. Because when you're paralyzed like that, any organ that's below the chest bone, and if you get an infection in it and there's no feeling, you don't know it until it's very bad. So this way he goes to the hospital a lot.
And so he's sick a lot, like you would see in a person with lupus. The immune system isn't as strong because his nerves are cut off, but his body really doesn't know how to react to not being able to move his legs. So it tries, but it's not able to keep him from getting sick a lot. And you told me earlier that he had to have open heart surgery.
Yes.
What was the open heart surgery that he had a few years back?
When the accident first happened, he had open heart surgery because the bullet went through his side, past his heart, and it came out on the other side and hitting the spine as it was going through. But several years after that, he had a blood clot, and then he had to have open heart surgery at Carolina Medical Heart Unit.
How did you react to that open heart surgery, Ms. Moore, knowing that you had already, in 1995, you had already dealt with your son being paralyzed, and you also told me that he actually died for a moment?
Yes.
What was that?
When he got shot and he got to the hospital, they said that all his blood, he had lost all the blood from his body, and they just had to start pumping blood in as soon as he got there. So when he got to the hospital, they said he was dead.
Okay, and I spoke with Ms. Moore previous to this interview to several other family members, and your daughter Deidre.
Yes.
She told me that they tried to put everyone into a room. You know how when someone dies in the family, they put all the family members into a room.
Yes.
Then a doctor comes in, and the doctor informs everyone that the family member is dead. How was your daughter when the doctors were trying to put everyone in a room and deliver that news?
Well, my daughter is very emotional. It was like when he was shot and she went to see him, she got to the site before medic took him away, and the policeman was saying, "Stay back," and she just burst right through him. So when they told us the news about, how critical and everything he was, she just went absolutely crazy.
That's I know that was pretty tough to deal with, man. But of course he's still here. And how old is Mr. Moore now? 46.
He's 46 years old. Yeah, he'll be 47 in December.
Okay. So are things going better? Like, what is the daily routine of Mr. Moore? How does he deal with this injury? Is he looking to be outgoing in life, get past the injury, and just say, I'm in this situation now, I'm just going to deal with it and move forward? Or has he just kind of resorted to, all hope is lost, and I don't know how to deal with this injury? How does he react now?
No, he takes it pretty good. He has 2 children and 2 grandchildren and a mother, so he has a lot to live for, and he has 3 brothers and a sister. So he takes each day as it comes. Some days are good and some days are bad, and that's like in anybody's life. So it's one of those things that's tiresome, but I just promised the Lord when I was at the hospital, and found out that he couldn't walk, just save him. As long as I live and I can, I'll be his lead. And I promised him that.
I understand that, Mr. Moore, and I know that this is a tough thing to deal with. There are hundreds of thousands of paraplegic people in America, and there are 7,500 are more people are being, paralyzed on a day-to-day basis in America. So it's just, we need to open our eyes, because this is becoming a big problem with the violence and just the sickness these days. I mean, you can't help what goes on in your family. And like Miss Moore here, she's a perfect example of, if you faced with a tough situation and, you don't know how to deal with it, you just gotta be strong. And it's hard until you're in that situation to realize and see everything that they go through. And
yeah, because life goes on.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stop living because he can't walk, because he's still alive. He have needs, and we have to take care of his needs. He could need something at 12 or 1 o'clock at night. He has a phone downstairs, and he call me upstairs, and I get up no matter what time it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I know that's a pretty stressful thing, being his mother, and you also live with your mother. So having a paralyzed individual in this household and two older individuals is tough. It's very, very tough. They're not in an ideal situation.
Yeah, but the Lord gives you strength.
Yeah.
He say if he closed the door, he opened the window, and he'll open many windows for me. And as long as I can, and the Lord will give me the strength, I'll take care of him until I die.
That's good to know, Miss Moore.
Yeah.
Miss Moore is a very, very strong person, as you see it. But that concludes this interview, and I just wanted everyone to see how stressful it is, and how you can deal with having a paraplegic son, daughter, mother, aunt, stepchild, anything. So
but you have to have God.
you have to. You got to be strong in your faith also.
Yes.
But for the people who may be watching this and are just being faced with this situation, you have a perfect example right here of how to deal with it. So just use this as an example and inspiration if you want to look at this every day and see, never give up. All hope isn't lost. So thank you, Miss Moore, for giving us a minute.
Oh, you're welcome, young man.
And everyone have a nice day.
Okay.